Hello, hi, how are you today? Happy sips to you. I hope you have some coffee and tea and you're ready to talk about some books. So I'm unhauling quite a few books to my local bookstore on Friday, hopefully to get some credits to get some more books, and if not, I'm gonna just donate them to the free library. And I figure I'd go through some of them with you, just because a lot of these books are kind of like it books right now. So this is my public service to you to say, if you're thinking about buying this book, maybe just wait for a copy at the library to become available. You know, not telling you what to do, but that's what I would do. So I'm just gonna go right into it. The first set of books that I'm unhauling are Book of the Month books. And I did want to give the caveat that I actually love Book of the Month. Ever since I found it, I've been obsessed. It is a subscription service, and they give you a new hardcover book each month for like $15. And I've found some gems within their selections. But with anything, there's always downfalls. We are pessimists in this group. So that's actually a lie. I'm an eternal optimist. But we always have some that we don't quite enjoy, and these were some of those for me. So the first one that I'm unhauling is The Lost Apothecary by Sarah Penner. I was instantly intrigued by the premise, and that is that it covers the lives or stories of two women separated by 200 years. The first woman, Nella, lives in the 18th century and she's an apothecarist, but not just one that's gonna sell you something for your common cold. No, she's selling tinctures of poison for different women to kill the men in their lives, which concept, yes, take the patriarchy down. The second storyline, Caroline, she is in the modern day. She has escaped to London to kind of figure out her life as her marriage is falling apart. And she finds one of Nella's bottles and kind of embarks on this journey to uncover that history and figure out what it was for. The premise, amazing. The execution, I think it's mostly because it's very light. You would think that'd be kind of dark and twisty, you know, like Meredith Grey is gonna come out anytime, but no, it was actually really light and just sad. Like Nella, I wanted to be this badass, just serial killer who's unapologetically taking down these awful men. Instead, she just was really tragic and not in a good way. And so at the end of the day, I just wish this book would have delved in and really embraced the kind of premise it set up so that we could really understand why someone would decide to go from a field that was really meant to help people to one that's giving people the means to kill. So we're getting rid of this one. The second one is a mystery, and that is The Maidens by Alex. I have practiced how to say this name. I'm not gonna get it. Michael Dellis? Michael. We're on a first name basis, Alex and I, so we'll just say Alex. If you're familiar with this author, you know he also wrote The Silent Patient, and so he's really made a niche for himself of writing psychological mystery thrillers that tie in a lot of mythology, and this one upholds that. So I did like The Silent Patient. I didn't like The Maidens as much. It follows Mariana, this therapist who realizes there might be a serial killer at her niece's school, and almost immediately she realizes that the culprit is Edward Fasca, a Greek tragedy professor who has this weird cultish inappropriate relationship with a group of women students at the school. And so the book is kind of watching her try to prove that he is the killer amongst their midst. It was good. I think the reason I'm getting rid of it is simply because reading Mariana's perspective was so incredibly frustrating. She just never connected the dots. She got in trouble with law enforcement all the time. The way that she would just engage in this investigation, just, oh, I wanted to reach through and just shake her. And I just feel like when you have a book where at the very beginning they're telling you who the killer is, you're either watching them try to prove it and being frustrated because you know they're not actually the killer, or you're reading the book knowing they're the killer being frustrated that they can't prove it. And so either alternative, you're kind of frustrated. I don't know, that's how I felt about it. Maybe you have read a book where they tell you who did it at the very beginning. That's not frustrating to read. If that's the case, please give me that book title so that I can have my mind changed. The last book from Book of the Month is The Love Hypothesis. If you watched my September wrap up, you knew this was coming. I did not enjoy this romance. I do not think fake dating is the trope for me. So other people seem to be loving this book. I would rather give this to them to read than to hold on for myself to just stare at and hate. So goodbye, Love Hypothesis. If you don't like a book, then you shall give it away. Ba-doom. Science joke for you there. The next few books are where BookTok has truly just failed me. I say this not actually being on BookTok. So do I have any credibility? Absolutely not. BookTokers, please don't come after me. I know nothing, so it's not worth your time to, make me cry. But I have, at the bookstores, they always have those little, here's what people are talking about on BookTok, and people send me BookTok videos all the time because they know I'm not on BookTok, and a lot of these were ones I saw on there and thought, hey, the whole universe of BookTok is raving about these books, I should give them a chance. And I didn't hate them, so keep that in mind. It's just I didn't love them enough to keep them on my shelves, which is ultimately why I'm getting rid of them. The first one was We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. I don't know, is it just me? I always want to add an extra E and go E.E. Lockhart. That makes no sense, but it's how my brain works. This book surprised me by how popular it's been this past year because it came out in like 2012. I mean, I remember being in high school and having this book come out. So it's surprising me that it's had this weird resurgence. But if you don't know, We Were Liars is about this family who has this private island of houses that they go to each summer, and there's not a ton of synopsis given about this book on the back of the book or really by the publisher, and I think that's on purpose. You're really meant to go into this blind and kind of figure out what's going on with this family, what are the secrets that they're holding. It is kind of a mystery, but not a mystery. This book is hard to categorize. And the reason I picked up this book, even though it's, there's not a ton of synopsis about it, is because I'd heard that it was really beautifully written, and also it has a map. Any book that has a map, I like. Clearly from Connor's bookshelf. This is Connor's bookshelf. We have separate bookshelves. He likes fantasy, so we are map people over here. And I will say I did enjoy the writing style. It's very lyrical, almost poetry-ish. I mean, the chapters are short. It's very, the metaphors are used a lot, almost too much, to the point where within the first few pages there's this part where she talks about getting shot, and I literally thought she had been shot, like was on the ground bleeding, we need to call 911. It was a metaphor. Keep that in mind as you're reading it. But I just didn't love this book as much as everybody else seemed to love this book. I thought there was a big twist at the end, and I kind of called it, like it wasn't surprising to me when that happened. I don't know, this book's kind of hard because I don't know why I didn't like it. I just know by the end I thought, oh, okay. And because of that, I'm unhauling it. It's not bad though. This is one of those books where I probably would keep on my shelves if it wasn't just that there was other books I'd rather buy instead. So, We Were Liars. Going and gone. The next book's not really BookTok, but I got it from another booktuber, which is why I'm just putting in this label, was Lizzie and Dante by Mary Bly. I got this during the summer because look at the cover. Tell me that doesn't scream summer. This book is about Lizzie, who is a Shakespearean professor who goes on a month-long, I think it's a month-long vacation to Elba with her ex-boyfriend and his current fiance. And in case you're like me, Elba is an island off of the Italian coast. I feel like my whole life reading books is just Googling where the geography is because I don't know where any place is. That's embarrassing. It does not say this in the back of the book, but they tell you within the first like 3 chapters, so I hope you don't think I'm spoiling it for you. I'm so sorry. If you're even worried, I'm giving you the spoiler warning right now. But Lizzie does have terminal cancer. So her vacation is not just to kind of escape, but to figure out what she wants to do with the rest of her life. And part of that has to do with love and how she approaches if she wants to get in a relationship with someone, knowing that there is a time limit to it. She clearly meets someone who makes her question that. Dante, he is a chef. He has a adorable teenage daughter. This story is a cute one. I did cry because I'm a sap. I don't even have to like the book and I'll cry. I mean, and not to cry just because I want to get done with it, just genuinely cry because of what's happening. The reason I'm getting rid of this book is purely because I could not get into the writing style of this. So I will give full credit that when this book was recommended by a fellow YouTuber, and when I say fellow, that's a joke because I am nowhere on the league of who recommended this. But she did give a massive warning that the writing style of this book is not for everybody, and boy was she right, this was not for me. It is just really convoluted and the sentence structure doesn't make sense. I can't tell if it's just too smart for me or if it's just wrong. So I'm gonna go with the first, you know, because we're self-deprecating, and at the end of the day it was disappointing because I bought this book new, and anytime you buy a new book, isn't it just disappointing when you don't like it? That's how I feel about things. Okay. The next book is a controversial one. Actually, both of them are, so I'm just going to talk about them together. These are the last 2 books. They're both romances. The first one is The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. The second one is Get a Life, Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert. Talia Hibbert. I know, I can't believe I'm getting rid of these, and this is one of my first videos. Oh, I promise I actually like popular books, and I like good books, I think. But these are just, you know, okay, so for romance, I love romance books, I really do. But if I'm not swept away into the romance, there's not a strong chance I'm gonna go revisit it and reread it. And so these ones just didn't do it for me. So The Unhoneymooners, a friend sent me, we kind of did a book swap, and she loved this book, and I did like this book. I think I ended up giving it a 3 stars, so I didn't hate it. It's about 2 people, Olivia and, I don't know his name, Ethan, who siblings, so their siblings married each other. They get food poisoning on their wedding, and Olivia and Ethan are the only ones who didn't, and the honeymoon is non-refundable, so instead of just wasting this vacation, they decide to go on it together. This is an enemies to lovers romance, so they start off really hating each other for different reasons. And as they're going on this vacation, you know, they slowly realize they might not hate each other as much as they seem. And this book was genuinely funny. There were many laugh out loud moments. I thought Olivia was a generally likable person. I do think Christina Lauren, because they're actually 2 people, if you didn't know that, Christina and Lauren, they're best friends who write together. I think they're a really great team, and I want to read more of their romances. It's just the ending of this book, I hated the conflict. Like, I hated the climax of this book, and how it was even resolved. I didn't think it was resolved enough. Like, Ethan, I can't spoil it. I don't want to spoil it. But if you've read it, please reach out to me and let me just vent about how much I did not like the ending of this book. I wish YouTube had one of those things where you could just push view spoiler or hide spoiler so I could talk about it. But because I hated the ending of this book, I'm not going to reread it. So hopefully someone else will enjoy it instead. And the last one, Get a Life, Chloe Brown. First, I really enjoyed the writing of this. I also really loved Talia's story, so I can't remember if it's in the acknowledgements or the beginning. She talks about how people discounted her as a writer and how they never thought she was going to get published, and so just knowing that makes me so incredibly happy that this book got published and is getting as much love as it's getting, because I do think it's well deserved. I've just realized that these type of romances where it's like the cutesy cartoon couple that are very, so like the Kiss Quotient and books like that, where the people are likable and just wholesome and it's a wholesome romance. Like, I don't know, I just think I'm too toxic to appreciate it. Like, I just want some more toxic romance in the mix, and that makes me an awful person. I understand fully that. But while I enjoyed this and while I liked it, I didn't love it. I just wanted there to be more, like more angst or more just like drama. I don't know, I just didn't feel like, I just thought this was a fun book and a light book, but I think other people will get more out of it than I will, and so I'd rather put it into the world, let it go, because in this case it's me, Chloe. It's not you, it's definitely me. You are a star, a bright shining star. You deserve all the love in this world, and I am trash. That was a lot to not actually go over what this book is about. So just to end, maybe you'll see this book if you were in Michigan for sale after I get rid of it, and you can take it instead. This book is about Chloe. She has a chronic illness that's invisible, and so she's had to live a lot of her life in pain, and people not understanding how to respond to that pain, and that she is in fact in pain. But she's decided she wants to have a life still, and so she creates this to-do list of things like enjoy a drunken night out, ride a motorcycle, do something bad, and to help her with that, she recruits the handyman in her apartment complex, Red. So Red helps her, and you know, he has his own trauma that he's currently working through, and together they just find a lot of understanding and acceptance and compassion with them. And so like I said, this is truly a really great romance. I'm not the people to like it. So yeah, those are the books I'm getting rid of. I do want to reiterate that if you like these books, it's not that I think you're wrong. I think almost all of these books are actually really decent books. It's just for me, they weren't enough for me to want to keep on to them, and to pack them inevitably in a small box that I have to lift. I hope you enjoyed these rambling thoughts. If you didn't, that's okay too. I will check in with you later.